What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Neil Rule, and to my left for the second day in a row, we've got KG filling in for D-Mac.
Yes, sir.
We got Justin in the audio booth, and we got Spenmo Rax in the TD booth. And a shout out to Ryan Lentz for that intro that is ready today.
It's crispy, man.
Hey, I was with him in the back, and he was painstakingly pouring over this intro because he wants it to be perfect because he always does the best work. And
Shout
this
out.
intro captured D-Mac and Neil, I think, as perfectly as possible. And you're going to get them next week. But for today, we've got a big package Friday. We got an NFL nickel package. We've got an NFC North. We've got college football. We've got NBA. But also, one thing that could interrupt or delay a big package Friday is some interesting comments made by head coach Dan Campbell and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. And if you haven't heard the Ben Johnson comments, he gets way more candid than most coaches you ever hear. And I think what he said and even what Dan Campbell said could end up being pretty profound. But we're going to get to that a little bit later. Before we really get into the nitty-gritty, how about those Dallas Mavericks, man?
Hey, they winning it all, man.
You think so?
I just see it, man. And it's crazy because when Anthony Edwards comes out and says that they were not on the same page not one time the whole series, that's a little concerning, man.
Yeah.
Minnesota had a really good year. Shout out to them, man. But, yeah, Dallas, I don't know how you stop a Luka and a Kyrie Irving, especially in clutch time. I just don't see how you do it.
Well, when they both play like they did last night,
Yeah.
man, it's just a freight train. Spenny, how are you feeling about a Mavericks-Celtics series? You like the matchup?
I love it. It's obviously a lot of high talented offensive players you got out there. Boston probably has a deeper team, but I would say Dallas has the higher end talent. So we'll see how that works out. I just hope that Boston doesn't win.
Boston doesn't win if Porzingis doesn't come back.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
They can't win this series without him.
I'll tell you what. One of the underrated things that has happened in this series, and it was augmented again by Derek Lively coming back after only missing parts of one game, is those lobs from Luka to Gafford or Luka to Lively. It's like it almost looks too easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you see Lively and Gafford with like damn near 100% field goal percentage throughout the playoff run, because it's just on those dunks that are set up absolutely perfect every single time. But yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit more because we've got an NBA nickel package coming up. We're going to get into last night's Eastern Conference final win by Florida a little bit later on. But before that, how about those Detroit Tigers? The all of a sudden red-hot, scorching Detroit Tigers getting a 5-0 win at Boston. Jack Flaherty pitched an absolute gem. You had home runs from Akil Baddoo, of all people.
Right, yeah.
You had Riley Green get his 10th home run of the year after being stuck on 9 for what seemed like forever.
Yeah.
You got Gio Urshela also getting off the home run schneid by hitting one last night over the monster. And almost as importantly as of all, scoreless outings from Tyler Holton and Alex Faedo.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling about the Detroit Tigers now that they're here? Let me set you up like this. They got a nice win at Boston.
They did.
They won 4 out of their last 5 at home. To me, if they can win this series at Boston, I'm kind of back. I wouldn't say all in. I'm still at the point where I'm kind of passively watching, but what say you?
On the grid.
They're back.
No, I can't blame you for that. And to be real, I got to thank you, man, because everybody that you seem to slander is beginning to come through, man. But you got to love what you're seeing from the Tigers right now. Aside from that double-header clunker that they had, you almost had back-to-back shutouts. Pitching is doing what they need to do, and we're starting to get some run support from areas that, we didn't see. Like you said, Akil Baddoo, he seems to have fixed a lot of things in his swing. Like Broder brought up earlier, he's hitting opposite field power now. You love to see that, man. And Gio Urshela finally coming out of his slump. This team, they need offense any way they can get it. So we'll definitely take it. But if they can score 4 to 5 runs a game, they seem to be a team that can win easily with the type of pitching that they have.
Yeah, and I kind of have mixed feelings on the Tigers because obviously Jack Flaherty was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Jack Flaherty, to me, joins a certain Flannel Sam list that I made before the show. The list is guys who, for the Detroit Tigers this season, have been everything you could have asked for and more. That list, of course, includes Tarek Skubal. Reese Olson certainly would qualify as more.
Yep.
Jack Flaherty, looking just like he did in 2019 and 2021.
Crazy.
And then you include Kerry Carpenter, who, other than his current IL stint, has been their best offensive player. I would include Riley Green over the totality of what he's done this year, even though he's been a little cold lately. He leads the team in home runs.
Yeah.
He's got that high on-base percentage relative to his average, which I love more than anything. You got Mark Canha, who I expected would lead this team in on-base percentage, and he has. Wenceel Perez has been a bit of a revelation. Nobody even knew who Wenceel Perez was, but I think even though he's been scuffling a little bit, he's been a net positive. And then, of course, Matt Vierling, 825 OPS, a guy that I slandered a little bit, and he's come back strong.
Yeah, the man's hot.
Here's the problem, though. I look at all of those guys who have stepped up. If I would have known that before the season, I would have thought to myself, leading the division, or at the very least, a division that we expected that is obviously better than expected. 5, 6, 7 games over 500. The problem, though, is Spencer Torkelson and Javi Baez are in the lineup every single fucking day. You know what? It's like the Beatles say. It seems like 8 days a week.
Yeah.
8 days a week.
8 days a week.
8 days a week. Torque and Javi. 8 days a week is just enough to show the Tigers don't care about winning the Central. It's
Ooh, I need your love, babe.
Yes, know it's true.
That's bad.
It's bad, man. And I hate to keep piling on Torque, but at this point, Javi is Javi, and we know that. Like, Javi's always been Javi. Even when we got him, he was Javi. He's gotten worse every year that he's been here. I don't think he's the biggest problem with this team. It is Spencer Torkelson at this point. He has to be priority number one as to why this team cannot generate offense. He's in a prime spot. He's normally batting between 3 and 5. You need him to start coming through, and if you aren't going to send him down, what the hell are you doing with him? I just feel like you're wasting him away at this point. You can't just let him continue to struggle on the MLB level.
Torque me, Javi.
Oh, but my point of it all, though, is that there have been a lot of positives of this Tigers team.
Yeah.
A lot of positives that I personally believe should result in more wins. But when you have two literal black holes, like Spencer Torkelson, as you said, he's playing his way out of MLB baseball.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is that he gets sent down. Does he ever even come back up? That sounds ridiculous.
You would have to think so. He's too much of a focal point on his team to not come back up. But like you said, it all depends on how he performs once he gets down there. If he gets down there, he's still struggling at the AAA level, then we got big problem.
Well, he's a guy who none of us, and I don't think he ever thought he'd see a AAA pitch again except during a rehab stint.
Yeah.
But here we are. If he got sent down, what are any of us going to say? What is Spencer Torkelson going to say?
We have a super chat from Dante151. He says, Flannel Sam needs to put Spencer Torkelson on the list.
He does.
So that he could hopefully can heat up. Also, pressures are important as sacks, said by Sam.
Well, we're going to get more into
That is not what he said.
That is not what he said.
That is not what he said at all.
We're going to get into that a little bit later, though.
Yeah.
Like stay
No,
stay
we
tuned.
definitely is. That's your
8
guy.
days a week. Torkelson can hit.
That's what it is, though. Yeah. That's what it seems like, because Spencer Torkelson, despite all of his terrible play, and I can kind of understand it because we saw what he did last year. We hope that he can hit his way out of it. He leads the team in at-bats.
Yeah.
Part of it is because he never walks. I think Riley Green has more plate appearances, but still, Spencer Torkelson leads your team in at-bats. It's death, taxes, Torkin at first base.
Yeah.
It's 8 days a week. It feels like forever to keep quoting song lyrics. But yeah, him and Javi, I think we can't gloss that over. His on-base percentage is 490.
It's bad.
It's 490.
It's bad.
He's in there every day.
This team just seems determined to not do anything with him. I mean, judging off Harris's comments, I don't think they have any plans to send Javi anywhere. I don't think they're going to send him to the bench. I don't think they're going to trade him. We just going to have to stomach that. But from a younger guy like Spencer Torkelson, somebody that actually has a future ahead of him, you don't want to see that, man.
I know.
And they got to do something. I don't know what it is, but you have to do something.
Yes, I mean, just a fan. Torque is looking pathetic, just like he called him Javier.
Oh, jeez.
Which is
Javier
pathetic.
Torque.
Hey,
Ooh, I need your hits, Torque.
Well, you're not getting them. Yes, it's true, but you can't.
One thing I can say, Torque, please hit the fucking ball.
Please.
Hold me. No.
And I'm not trying to spare his feelings or anything like that at this point. Like, I feel like that needs to be out the window. I don't know if that's necessarily something that AJ Hinch is really doing. Is he not sending him down because he's trying to spare his feelings?
Yeah.
But I don't get it. I don't get it at this point.
Well, and obviously, and I said it in the beginning, the Tigers are on a hot streak. This 5 out of 6 stretch to me is they're in the process of, I know it sounds dramatic because it's 6 out of 162, but of kind of saving their season, or at least righting the ship.
It could have spiraled.
After that KC sweep, I was as down on the Tigers. I mean, I RIP'd them, basically. And then, hey, to not make me any more mad, they decided to play well, because that's how it works. I'm obviously kidding, by the way, but 5 out of 6, and as I said before, you go into Boston, you take 3 out of 4, and I'm back all in, dialed in the next series, and then the next homestand. But anything short of that, even though 2 out of 4 is not anything to be ashamed of, I'm still going to be more passively hoping as opposed to dialing in, hanging on every pitch.
Right.
I think the Tigers right now are like a toxic ex-girlfriend where they lose it. That we went on the huge losing streak. Now they win 5 out of 6. And now, like Flannel's saying, he's getting roped back in after RIPing them, and he's going to go back to the toxicity. And
just when I thought I was out, you pull me back in.
Yeah, they just keep baiting you back in. They got you on the hook, Flannel. They got you on the hook.
You know, those toxic ex-girlfriends always got the best. The best shit. So yeah.
Hey, and if you want to include like I guess the toxic ex-sex would be like that 14-11 win, walk-off 3-run home run.
Yeah,
just that ultimate climax of like, oh my God.
Right.
Although
you can score runs. Oh my God.
That's not something that I've ever really experienced, and certainly don't experience now because I love my wife. But anywho, but it is. It's
Chance the Rapper on the desk.
Chance the Rapper. That's 100%.
Yeah,
loyalty,
I love my wife.
Oh man, Spenny, you're absolutely killing me today.
It's Friday, man.
We'll see though. One thing though that does encourage me is that I've always said, and you guys can quote me on this, Matt Broder's in the room as well right now, because I've been consistent about this on Wake Up Woodward. I do think, and I still do, that there is a lineup of the guys that you have up there already, plus if you add like a Jace Young or a Justin Henry Malloy, that isn't terrible.
Yeah.
That isn't terrible. Like part of the reasons that the lineup is how it is and so inconsistent is because Javi Baez and Torque are absolutely terrible, and for that matter, so is Jake Rogers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for a large part of the season, Colt Keith was as well, although he's heating up. But now,
and at least he's making good content.
And that's the thing. Colt Keith, I can't say much about him. He was going through some growing pains, and he's playing well.
Yeah.
He 100% is. But this Tigers team, if they can put together a stretch on this road trip, starting with 3 out of 4 at Boston, I am all back in.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of a 500 baseball team. Sometimes they're going to lose a bunch in a row, and sometimes they're going to go 5 out of 6, and as long as they can add more wins as opposed to the losses and stay in it, I'm going to be hooked to some extent, and I think we all are as well.
June is going to be a very critical month for this baseball team.
Oh, 100%. But if whether you want to celebrate wins or maybe smoke away your depression, where do you go to get the supplies?
I'll tell you where to go, man. You go to Dispo Dispensary, of course. They got deals too good to miss, man. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Smoke weed every day. Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's
Broder,
biggest
what's
New
up,
Year's
man?
sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Detroit sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? It's a new era in sports wearables, new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Hoodies, tees, and the hats are guaranteed to turn heads. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Welcome back to Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. Nice Big D shout there. KG, you're learning from some of the best. And Darren McCarty and Spenmo Rax. Nice to see the youngins learn and get more experience. But anywho,
He's older than I am.
That's true.
Woodward Sports youngins, guys. Obviously.
Yeah, I'm still in my rookie year.
You're still in your rookie year, but you're obviously rookie of the year. If you were a rookie season,
It's a landslide.
you would be CJ Stroud.
Thank you.
You would be CJ Stroud.
Yeah, that's high praise from Sam. Thank you.
Absolutely. But we got KG on the desk right next to me. We got Justin, Jesus, Korean Jesus, whatever I want to call him, whatever I feel like on any certain day in the audio booth, and we got Spenmo Rax in the TD booth. Dan Campbell spoke.
Sir.
He had some comments about one Aiden Hutchinson, which I found interesting. I heard what the heavyweights had to say last night. I thought they did a great job, and you guys on Wake Up Woodward as well. But for those of you who didn't get a chance to hear, go ahead, Spenny, play Dan Campbell's comments on Aiden Hutchinson.
To you, the impact of a defense, and can Hutchinson has another level or two, I would think, to rise to?
Yeah, sacks aren't that big of a deal as long as you're getting the pressures. As long as you're getting pressures that and those pressures show up that affect the quarterback negatively, you know. Now, would you rather have sacks? Absolutely, I'd rather have sacks, right? You lost yardage, all those things, but the pressures are more to me than, man, a pressure that affects the quarterback. We watched a couple of clips this morning in front of the team. Quarterback's wanting to step up. He can't step up. The throw is high. He's flipping to his right. He can't get his hips around, and we throw a pick. So these things that end up in negative plays, whether it's incomplete, it's turnovers, it's whatever, I'll take those all day long. So, look, Hutch is going to continue to improve. And whether those come in sacks or not, I already know he's going to be better. You know what I mean? That's just the way he is, the way he works. It's like Saint. I mean, you're going to be able to count on the production he's going to bring.
Do you buy that he needs somebody or more production on the other side of the line to improve?
That will always help. I mean, it helps. If you've got somebody else that can kind of push them to you, at times you can kind of hide in a little window, and it could be a half a yard the other way and that's all it takes for him to miss by an arm length. So that helps. Yeah, it certainly does. But you can also get that from a 3 technique on the other side. That could be Mac, that's opposite of him on some things. So, but yeah, somebody on the other side always is going to help.
I think that perfectly sort of encapsulates what I've tried to say for a very, very long time. I've had lengthy arguments about.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean? And of course, now that Dan Campbell says it, everything Dan Campbell says is gospel, right? That's how you guys acted when he talked about J-Mo. Everything he says is gospel. It's Dan Campbell, right? He said it. But no, seriously, one thing that I've always tried to preach ad nauseum, and I think a lot of people knew that, but when it came to Hutch and sometimes frustrations, and rightfully so with the defense as a whole, is that playing the edge rushing position is so much more than just sacks.
It is.
You know how I know that? Because sacks in the grand scheme of NFL football are so fucking rare. You know how I know? The all-time leader in sacks per games has .93, and that's TJ Watt. If you have 2 sacks a game, which a lot of people call for on certain games, you are the greatest defensive player in the history of American team sports. Whether it's a 12-game season, a 14-game season, a 16-game season, or a 17-game season, if you get 2 sacks a game, you break the all-time sack record. So you might only make that one really big splash sack play on a game. And that's kind of what I've always tried to say, is that getting pressures is important. Hitting the quarterback is important. When it comes to Aiden Hutchinson, let's just look at last year. Yeah. Nobody would say that he played a bad game at Kansas City. He was in Patrick Mahomes' grill all night. He hit him 3 times, didn't sack him, but you obviously saw that Patrick Mahomes was a little bit rattled. Even the great Patrick Mahomes gets rattled. You look at the game at Minnesota to clinch the division. Hutch had 4 hits. You look at the game against the Raiders, and this is a play that me and Spenny have referenced many, many times. Devontae Adams with the Lions up by 12 early on in the fourth quarter was wide open for a walk-in 98-yard touchdown, and Jimmy Garoppolo missed him. Why did he miss him? 1, because he blows, but 2, because Aiden Hutchinson was right in his face and just, lit Jimmy G up right as he threw the ball. You even look at the Rams game, the Rams playoff game, in which Aiden Hutchinson had 2 sacks, but some people even talk about, one of them, Matthew Stafford fell and Aiden touched him, and one of them, Stafford was just trying to run and Hutch kind of held contained and just kind of touched him down. Yeah. But the most impactful plays were the hits, the holding penalty that he caused, the 2nd and goal at the 6, up 7-0, the pressure and the hit that Hutch had on Stafford, in which he had to basically throw the ball away, the 3rd and 12 hit that Hutch had on Stafford, when it was 24-17, or like late in the 3rd quarter, that forced Stafford to throw the ball to Kupp for 4 yards and forced a field goal to make it 24-20. And then, of course, the most important was that holding penalty that Hutch caused with the Rams driving at the Lions 34, 3rd and 4, with a chance to get a first down, milk more clock, maybe kick the game-winning field goal, force the Lions to use timeouts, or maybe get the game-winning touchdown. That was Aiden Hutchinson that forced that holding call. I'm not saying Hutch is perfect. I'm not saying that he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. I'm not saying that all of his moments were great. It's just that I feel like sometimes, and I'm not accusing you, Spenmo, more the chat, just kind of watered this down to count the sacks, bruh. And you know what? While we're counting the sacks, he had 11.5. The way some people talk about him, you think he had like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
He had 3 in the playoffs, which was tied for the playoff lead. He had more combined regular season and postseason sacks than Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Nick Bosa. He has the same amount of sacks in 3 games that TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, and Myles Garrett have in a combined 10, which is 3. Those are things that you got to realize about Hutch. He's not perfect, but he's the best defensive player we have, and we should be on our knees thanking the good Lord above that he fell to the Detroit Lions.
Nah, definitely. And Sam, you're not wrong. I just want to start with that. You're not wrong in what you are saying. And I don't expect Hutch to be a perfect player. I don't expect him to make every play. But when you have a player, the skill caliber of Hutch and how easily he gets in the backfield, like pressures are pretty much measuring how well you get in the backfield. He's in the backfield damn near every play. When you have that kind of volume, going a month without a sack, it's kind of, and I don't want to get you started. It's not about that. But the defense, for one, they have let him down to some degree. It isn't all his fault, but we have seen plays where Hutch will get in the backfield and then he whiffs on a sack, or he over pursues the quarterback and then they make a play. These are the things that we talk about when we want to see more sacks. Yes, the pressures are good. It's not a useless stat by any means, but sacks are drive and down killers. They guarantee you that the defense they're going to make a play and they're going to put the offense in a bad position. When you have just a pressure, that's fine, but the quarterback can still escape, can still make the play. And more times than not with the Lions, that's what we saw. Is that all Hutch's fault? Absolutely not. Hopefully it'll be better this year. He has more help along that D-line with Marcus Davenport, DJ Reader. Things should definitely be a lot better for Hutch, but I do need to see the sacks too.
Sure.
And I just hate like the victory lap that people are taking on this, because what Campbell said is sacks or pressures are better than nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, obviously pressures are better than nothing, but Dan Campbell in that same sentence said he'd rather have sacks because they're more important.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'd rather him get a pressure than just standing there doing nothing or not getting anywhere near the quarterback. But you'd rather have him sack the quarterback because that is more impactful and more important in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly.
Sacks are important. Sacks are what win games. Pressures, if you pressure a quarterback 4 times in a row, you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Maybe he gets an underthrow. Maybe he gets an interception. Mm-hmm. Maybe he gets the ball off. Maybe he makes something happen.
Maybe he scores a touchdown.
If you sack the quarterback 4 times in a row, you get the ball back. Like, it's cut and dry like that. Pressures are definitely better than nothing.
Yeah.
But sacks are the important stat.
And at the volume that he gets in the backfield, you do just expect more sacks. I mean, that's just what it comes down to.
The problem, though, you're using an example of sacking a quarterback 4 times in a row. Nobody in the history of humankind has done that. We talk about a guy here. I'll go back to an old head. A guy that if you ask Tom Mazaway, and I don't have any disrespect for this guy, he's one of the best defensive players ever, Lawrence Taylor. He kind of uses him as the greatest defensive player ever. I'd vote Aaron Donald, but Lawrence Taylor certainly has a case. The way that Tom Mazaway, the way that old heads talk about him, you think that he had 3-4 sacks every single game. The man had 3 seasons where he had 15 or more sacks. He had 142 sacks in 183 career games. As I've said, sacks, I don't want to say they're random, but they're rare. Sometimes you do everything you can, and the quarterback just gets rid of the ball.
Yeah.
The only reason I use that 4-sack argument is because people that act like pressures are great, pressures are fine, that's all we need is pressures. Yeah. If you don't get a sack, it's fine as long as you got a pressure. No, that's not fine for me. It's not fine for me because you can still get the ball off with the pressure. You can still make a play with the pressure. Obviously, I don't expect you to sack the quarterback every time, but sacks are better than pressures, and that's not debatable.
Yeah.
No, I've never said that sacks weren't better than pressures. I've said that when you look at in the totality of last year, I think Aiden Hutchinson's sack numbers were fine. I think if all of us would have been told before the beginning of the season that he'd have 11.5 in the regular season.
That's a disappointment.
No.
We both said 14. You sat on that other booth, and you said 14.5 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson last year. So 11.5 is not fine. That's underachieving.
Oh, so he had a shitty year. He had a fucking shitty year.
Did I fucking say that?
You're basically saying that.
You just said it's fine. When before the season started, me and you agreed 14.5 sacks is the expectation. So under that is a disappointment.
You know what? Maybe 14.5 sacks was a little bit lofty. I'm saying that he had a season to me that was every bit as good as a 14.5 sack season. And oh, by the way.
So you moved the bar.
I didn't move the bar. He had 3 more in the playoffs, dude. He had 3 more in the fucking playoffs. And it's the playoffs for the fucking Lions. My point is that he had 11.5 in the regular season, and then 2 on Matthew Stafford and a playoff win over him? Erect the fucking statue. That's what we would have all been saying. But no, we're acting like he needed to do more. He was less than. He is the least. One of the least of the Lions' problems.
But Sam, can you agree that he can take it up a notch? Because yes, we don't expect him to make every play, but if you're going to call him elite, that's fine. But when you got players like Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt that are getting at minimum 14 sacks,
dude,
at minimum,
this is Hutch's second year. His second year. We're acting like, you know what? He wasn't prime Lawrence Taylor. He's a bum. Come on. And oh, by the way, Myles Garrett, he had a 5-game stretch where he didn't have a sack.
I get that.
He had a whole ass playoff game where he didn't have a sack.
If you are of the belief that he can take it up another notch, then what we're saying is absolutely valid.
Fine. But I don't think it was his fault at all that he didn't get more sacks. Maybe he missed a couple, and that's fine. But for the most part, he was the best thing that you had on this defense. And we should all be, and I think most of us are, and I think even you are, Spenny and KG, we should all be happy with the season that he had. He took that second-year leap. He was a Pro Bowler. Do I think he's going to be an All-Pro next year? I certainly think he has a chance. It's a pretty deep edge rusher class, but I think his sack numbers are going to improve. But I also think that has more to do with what's around him.
If he had a year like last year, would you be disappointed that he didn't progress?
No.
If he had the same type of exact year that he had last year.
Yes,
go ahead, Spin.
I would because he has different pieces on the defensive line now.
Exactly.
He has a guy, Italy McNeil, hopefully can stay healthy and be that guy in the middle. DJ Reader commands a double team. On the outside, if Davenport and James Houston can stay healthy, you got those pieces. So if Hutch goes out there and puts out 11.5 sacks again next year, I'll be disappointed.
With 3 of them being in the playoffs. I do understand that they do count, but in the regular season, he technically had single-digit sacks.
No.
You can't keep. No, he had 11.5.
He had 11.5 in the regular season, 3 in the playoffs. Come on.
And you can't get so defensive over Hutch when we say he needs to be better because he's held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
We all know he was the best player on the defense last year. That doesn't mean he can't get better. That doesn't mean he's just God and you can't say anything bad about him and erect a statue of him. No, he can be better. He is a part of that trash defense. Just because he was the best player, was he not a part of the defense?
He was the best thing they had by far.
That's what I just fucking said.
Best thing by far.
But he can still get better.
Yeah.
Is he a perfect player?
No.
Can he do no wrong?
No.
Then he can take criticism and stop getting so angry when people criticize him.
No.
You can say he's the best player on the defense, but he needs to get better at the same time.
If you want to call him elite, he does need to get up there with the TJ Watts and the
and I think he will. And I don't think there's anything you can complain about from the first couple seasons as long as he takes the leap that you all think that he will and should. But here's the thing. Spenny, let me ask you this. What's an acceptable sack total?
For him next year?
Yes.
15.
Come on, bro.
I said 14 is my floor.
Guys, did you know? Guys,
he had, listen, DJ Reader is going to be a big part of why he gets to 14 in my eyes. That man eats a double team. If we look at what he did for Trey Hendrickson, he had 17 sacks in the season.
Okay.
You don't think that's possible for Aiden with a DJ Reader if he stays healthy?
I don't want to hear a damn thing about how he was disappointing if he doesn't get 17 and a half sacks. 15, I even think that's a little bit. He can get less than 15 and have a great year. Do you know how I know that? Micah Parsons never had a 15-sack season. Max Crosby has yet to have a 15-sack season. Julius Peppers never had a 15-sack season. Terrell Suggs never had a 15-sack season. Bruce Smith, the all-time leader in sacks, has 2. Jason Taylor, former Defensive Player of the Year, has 1. Von Miller has 1. 15 sacks do not grow on trees. Every single guy that I just mentioned is either a Hall of Famer or a future Hall of Famer, and a lot of them won Defensive Players of the Year.
Yeah, but it's not impossible, though.
Miles Garrett won a Defensive Player of the Year with 14 sacks. I'm just saying, if you say 15 or bust, I think that's a little bit lofty. That's all.
Is it? If he had 11 and a half and 3 in the playoffs?
I mean,
he technically already did it.
Yeah, if he had 11 and a half last year and you expect him to make a jump, I don't think that's too big of a jump to expect.
But as Dan Campbell said, you can still affect the game with pressures and hits. I'm not saying they're as important.
And we're not saying that either. That's why I'm saying pressures aren't a useless stat. Yes, it can affect the quarterback, but that doesn't tell the whole story. I can pressure a quarterback, and he can scramble for a 60-yard touchdown or steal pass to a receiver for a 40-yard bomb. Yeah. Like, pressures are important, but they're not everything. Sacks are definitely what you would prefer.
Well, before we go to break, what's your number, Flannel?
My number, I would say, if it's anything, I don't even really have a number. Get in the double digits and then make an impact in any way that you can.
See,
I would probably say 15, but I'm not going to hold him to that standard that he has to get 15 or he's a bum or anything like that.
Nobody said that.
I expect him to be fighting for an all-pro spot and to be a no-doubt Pro Bowler. That's what I expect. I'm not going to hold him to...
He's saying get into double digits and I'll be... That's soft.
That's not soft.
That is soft.
That's not soft, bro.
You can call him very good, then you can't call him elite.
Well, he is elite. And he'll show it. And he showed it last year. He was elite last year, whether you guys fucking like it or not. There was
23 players who had double-digit sacks last year.
Okay,
so
fine.
That's fine. That's the bar for him.
How many of them had 33 hits? You know how many?
We're talking about sacks, Flannel.
Okay, but there's more to it than sacks. Count the sacks,
We're talking about sack numbers. That was my question. What's your sack number?
I don't have one.
If being a top 25 sacker in the NFL is okay for him.
He was 12!
We're talking about next year. We're talking about next year. Stop screaming like a child. There were 25 people in the NFL last year, 23, who had double-digit sacks. So if that's fine for you for Hutch next year, I don't know what to say.
You know what? I want you guys to all admit something then.
Okay.
That Will Anderson, Chase Young, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Trayvon Walker had bum-ass rookie years. Since it's all about sacks.
Oh, my God.
Had bum-ass rookie years.
It could be a middle ground, Sam.
They didn't. I don't believe that because I'm
just
intelligent.
Feast or famine with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say anything bad about Hutch. You can't expect more from Hutch. You're calling him a bum.
Here's the problem, though, and I know we're really, really late. When we talk about every other Lions player, when we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, when we talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, when we talk about Ragnow, when we talk about Panay, when we talk about Branch, it's just under the table jerking like 2 loads before we even can stop. I feel like Hutch should get that treatment. That we should universally beloved him and treat him like the star that he is, but we're nitpicking at him constantly.
Yeah, I do understand. But if you're looking for a morning show where you can see this type of reaction every day, tune in to Wake Up Woodward, man. Every day, 8 to 10 a.m. You know the players. You know the game. Broder, Flannel, me, JB, and Kool-Aid, man. Shout out Kool-Aid, man. But every day, 8 to 10 on Woodward Sports, Detroit's #1 digital sports network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's hair. What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Enough Detroit sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
It's hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices at all the conveniences, the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for over 30 years. They have 60 different brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
Spirited last segment on Big D Energy Live on Woodward Sports Network, but we're all brothers and we make up and it's great. I'm Flannel Sam filling for Neil Rule. We got KG to my left.
Broder outside the window.
Broder's walking by. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. He was in the room for a minute here. We got Korean Jesus in the audio booth, and we got Spenmo Rax in the TD booth.
Hello.
Dan Campbell was not the only coach who spoke. Ben Johnson, to me, had some of the most candid and most profound words you'll ever hear from a coach. And Spenmo Rax, if you wouldn't mind, can you play those for the Big D Energy audience?
Yes, of course.
Something that coach had said. So 2021 and early part of 2022, he had made this analogy to the team just about how we were sailing down the ocean, and at that moment we were in the Arctic. We were hitting the icebergs. We had the storms going on, and I mean, those were dark days. But he had the foresight, he had the vision of where we were going and where we were heading. He assured us, guys, I see it. I see where we're going. The results haven't been there yet, but the Caribbean is on the horizon. It's coming up. And I'm sitting on the plane, I'm thinking back to that, and just the story of my career has been living in that Arctic for a lot of it. That was the second time I've been to the playoffs. The first time I'd experienced winning games in the playoffs. I think when it boils down to it, I wanted the sunshine a little bit longer. That's really what it comes down to for me. I like the sunshine. I like what we've built here, starting with ownership, the head coach, the GM, on down. We have a great group of guys in the locker room, and I want to reap the rewards with them a little bit longer.
And rarely do you see a coach speak like that, and basically what he's referring to is the progress that this team has made and he has made throughout his time in Detroit, as starting with being the passing game coordinator in late 2021 and all the way up until him being an offensive coordinator, the position that he still holds today, the position that a lot of us Lions fans didn't think that we would have him for another year. And one of, I think, the key reasons why us Lions fans think that that the Lions are certainly one of the Super Bowl favorites.
Absolutely. You got to think that way. And loyalty, just like in life, man, it's so hard to find loyal people in this world, man. So when you get a guy like Ben Johnson, who has grown every year that he's been here, he's given this offense like a totally different look, one that I didn't think I would ever see. He's helped Jared Goff in so many ways improve his game and give us the Jared Goff that we know and love today. For him to knowingly he could have took a coaching job anywhere. The guy is a guaranteed head coach one day if if this continues. For him to just say, nah, I'm good. I'd much rather be here. We got a job to finish. I respect that so much from him. Like you just don't get that in today's game, man. So I'm very proud of where Ben Johnson, where he started and to where he's at now. You couldn't be more prouder of the guy, man. And with him at the helm, the Lions have probably their best chance ever to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, absolutely. Like, look at the beginning of 2021. And I know it was a little bit different because Amon-Ra was a rookie and Penei was a rookie while we're including that in. But the Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown connection, Jared Goff at the beginning of 2021, and it wasn't all his fault. You know, Anthony Lynn was calling the plays. He was the bridge quarterback that we all feared him to be.
Yeah.
He was actually worse than a bridge quarterback. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was good for a 4th round pick, but pretty much ever from the moment, not really the moment, the last few games after they got rid of Anthony Lynn and promoted Ben Johnson to a passing game coordinator, him and Dan Campbell were kind of creating the offense. The Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown connection exploded and has continued to be elite ever since about week 12 of 2021. It was elite all of 2022, elite of all of 2023. And I have to believe that those two guys, they saw something in Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and what they could be that nobody else did. And what they've turned into is a first-team All-Pro wide receiver, a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, one of the best in the NFC. And to me, the Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown connection is as big a reason as any that the Lions have progressed as well as they have.
No, absolutely, man. You got to count that. Spenny, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, if you like, it's a long interview from Ben Johnson, and he touches on a lot of the reasons why he stayed here. And one of them, he talks about how there was 8 new coaches this year, and he's like, realistically, 5 of those guys will be gone in 3 years.
Yeah.
And so he's basically saying, you know, shout out Kanye, there's 1,000 yous, there's only one of me. He knows as long as he is the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions and their offense is rolling like it is, he will be the prime head coaching candidate. So he doesn't have to jump to get a job as the Commanders head coach or the Panthers head coach. He can wait until, I don't know, Doug McDermott gets fired, Nick Sirianni gets fired, Rob Saleh gets fired, and he has a situation that's ready-made where he can slide into, kind of like what Jim Harbaugh did with the Chargers.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind us going to break a little bit late, I was just going to say that I'm glad that you touched on that because obviously as a young offensive mind, a lot of offensive minds work out. Like Andy Reid, not a young offensive mind, but maybe one of the best coaches in NFL history, one of the best play callers in NFL history, maybe the best offensive mind in NFL history. But then you look at guys like Sean McVay, Super Bowl winner, Kyle Shanahan, been to multiple, even a Zach Taylor, even Kevin O'Connell, who you think's a bum, but I respect him more. I respect him certainly more than you do, and even Matt LaFleur. Those guys worked out. However, there is a graveyard of great coordinators who tried to cut it as a head coach, maybe went to a situation too soon and fell flat on their face and failed miserably. I mean, you look at Pat Shurmur, 2017 coordinator of the year, goes to coach the New York Giants. In his career as a head coach, he also had a stint with the Browns, which sucks too. 19-46 record. Vic Fangio, great defensive coordinator, coaches the Broncos for 3 years. 19-30 record. Even Jim Schwartz. And Jim Schwartz, he had some success with the Lions. However, his record as a head coach here was 29-51, and he's clearly better as a coordinator. You even look at Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo becoming one of the greatest defensive coordinators ever for what he did with the 2007 Giants, what he's done with the Chiefs. His record as a head coach, 11-41. Look at the Belichick tree. Look at Josh McDaniels. Look at Romeo Crennel. Look at a guy like Dick LeBeau, longtime defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was the coordinator for both of their 2006 and 2008 Super Bowl team. 12-33 record as head coach. A guy like Cam Cameron, who in the modern NFL, you can face this fate, was the Chargers OC from 2002 to 2006 with those really good LaDainian Tomlinson and then Phillip Rivers teams, and that 2006 team that was 14-2 in the regular season but flamed out in the playoffs.
Got another one for you.
Hey, absolutely.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Absolutely. But like what happened to Cam Cameron, he goes to the Dolphins, is 1-15, fired.
Yeah.
And then has another stint as a pretty good offensive coordinator as well. And if you even want to look at Kevin Gilbride, he coached he was the coordinator for the Warren Moon early 90s Oilers teams, was the offensive coordinator for both Eli Manning Giants teams, goes to coach for the Chargers in the late 90s, 6-16. I'm not saying that's a fate that would, bestow Ben Johnson by any means. I'm just saying if you go to a situation, if you're Dave Canales and you go to the Panthers, Spenny, do you expect that to end well?
No.
You expect him to probably get fired within a couple of years?
Yes.
KG, does that end well?
No.
It doesn't. And Ben Johnson, although I believe he's a more qualified guy than like a Dave Canales, He's not a miracle worker.
He's not.
Is he going to go to Carolina, for example? I know there are other jobs. Is he going to go to Carolina and resurrect Bryce Young's career?
Hell no.
I know, Spenny, you're done with them, and I'm right about there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben Johnson, he's shrewd. He knows what he's doing. He knows that he's got a great opportunity in Detroit. He trusts the leadership of Dan Campbell. But I truly believe that he knows these same people that I just mentioned. You could get a head coaching job, fail miserably, and then never get one again. Hold out till there's one that you think is right, i.e. Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. I think that's going to work out very well. Coming up next, though, we're going to get into the nickel packages. Big Package Friday. We're going to start out with the NFC North. But first, KG, where can you get a good haircut?
Of course, Lady Jane's, man. And shout out to the beautiful women at Lady Jane's over there working hard. But awesome is when a guy can be a guy to get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, and relax, and let one of the Lady Jane's girls take care of you, make you look good, and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The Lions might be bordering a lockdown defense, and you can get one too at Guardian Alarm, man. Customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs, 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people, but y'all know what it is, man. We got to call the number, 1-800.
Stay out.
Once again, that's 1-800.
Stay out.
Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
You know, as I was perusing the chat before we get to the nickel package, Cody Ingle brought up one of the best examples of them all that relates way too close to home that I didn't even catch.
What?
Matt Patricia.
Oh,
Another one.
Shit,
had some success as the defensive coordinator of the Patriots, although we all think it's more Bill Belichick's defense, but still.
He was never a great D coordinator to me either. They always had the bend don't break approach, and to me, that's not the mark of a great defensive coordinator.
No, I understand that, but obviously the Fords thought differently.
Yeah.
And they were wrong. But another one that had success, no matter how much it had to do with him, I think we both agree, not as much as people think.
Yeah.
But he had success as a coordinator, failed miserably as a Lions head coach. It sucks that we have Schwartz and Patricia on that list. But without further ado, Spenny, NFC North nickel package.
All right, NFC North nickel package. First question. Who leads the NFC North in receiving yards this season?
Justin Jefferson.
I
know some people are going to get mad at me, but I'm never going to vote against him. He's maybe the best receiver I've seen with my own two eyes. Even on a per-game basis, his production usurps everyone in NFL history. He laps the field with all of them. And I don't think that's going to slow down, even if he has Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy throwing to him. And I get it. Justin Jefferson, people might say he might not be here. But for now, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to argue against that because, I mean, Justin Jefferson had scrubs throwing to him last year, and he was still putting up numbers. Yep. So as of right now, I would take Justin Jefferson. But I got the Sun God as a close second.
I agree, by the way.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Amon-Ra St. Brown because I see
I'm not mad
Justin
at
Jefferson either holding out and missing some games or getting traded.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see him playing an entire season with Minnesota. Obviously, if that was the case, I would obviously pick Justin Jefferson because he's the best receiver in the NFL. But I don't know if he doesn't play in the NFC North this year, which I don't really see him doing, at least for the whole season. I think it's going to be Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I mean, Rack kind of said the same thing, that he might not play in this division. He might hold out. And Brandon Katz, we're talking about NFC North, not NFC.
Right.
Ears.
Yeah, I saw
ears are right here. Question number 2, Smitty.
Question number 2, next question of the NFC North nickel package. Who leads the NFC North in tackles this season?
TJ Edwards.
Yeah.
TJ Edwards is just one of those special linebackers. He's had 150 or more in back-to-back seasons. Coming off of his best year in Chicago, it seems to really be that scheme fit. He's their next Roquan Smith. He's that guy that he anticipates, he reads, reacts. He pretty much is the complete linebacker, a build-a-linebacker type, so I'm going to go with TJ Edwards.
Give me Jack Campbell.
Damn.
Yes, same here. Let's go.
Jack Campbell, I feel like he will take the big step up that we expect him to, especially with the additions that we made on defense. DJ Reader being a big one. He was already good at playing the run, but when you got a monster down there like that, it'll only help him. He's going to improve, and, I just feel like he already had damn near 100 his rookie year. He can definitely surpass that this year. I think he'll lead the NFC North in tackles.
I don't hate it. I'll probably go with TJ Edwards. That's too, fair. Though, because I think the Lions have a lot more guys. Although I do think Jack Campbell has a big year. I don't know if he reaches 150 tackles this season, but it's some
I feel you.
I'm seeing some Ivan Pace Jr. in the chat. I know Broder's a big fan of that guy, and as you should be. He was the best rookie like middle linebacker in the NFL last year as an undrafted player. That's a damn miracle. But shout out to Ivan Pace. Hopefully Jack Campbell is better than him this year. And before we get to question number 3, please tell me, Spenny, that you're joking about Juices.
No, I'm not.
Oh my God.
He said he's better than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
I dropped back from Josh Allen, but if you don't remember, I backtracked and got off the highway for that. But I will not drop back on Lamar Jackson. I'll give you Josh Allen, because if he had the 2 elite wide receivers, then yes, I do think he's
better without them. He's literally better without the 2 elite wide receivers.
He did have Diggs, and I'd say Diggs is better than AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So
arguable.
It's a toss up between him and AJ Brown.
I couldn't disagree with you more, Juices, but that's another discussion for another day.
Has Lamar Jackson made it to a Super Bowl?
No, wait a minute.
And is he a playoff joker?
Wait a minute. Lamar Jackson is a playoff underperformer. He's one of the worst playoff underperformers in NFL history.
Sure.
However, Josh Allen is not.
Yeah, and
he is not.
Is Jalen Hurts the reason the Eagles made the Super Bowl?
He wasn't the reason they made it, but he played well enough to win outside of that turnover. He did have that bad turnover, though.
All right, next question of the nickel package. Which player leads the NFC North in pressure? In sacks this season?
I'm gonna go with Aiden, just because.
Of course.
Well, yeah, he's the best. He's the best edge rusher in the NFC North, and he is going to have more around him, which I do believe will help him. And if you look at his hits numbers versus Montez Sweat and Jonathan Grenard's last year, Hutch had 33, Sweat had 25, Grenard had 22. And Grenard was playing next to Will Anderson, and for a lot of the season, Montez Sweat actually had, I would say, adequate defensive line help, although Deron Payne had a bad year, but Jonathan Allen and Chase Young, that's pretty good help as well. However, Montez Sweat with the Bears, shout out to what he did, because he had no help and still put up numbers. But I think it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson, because I believe, even me, that Aiden Hutchinson, some of those hits will turn into sacks just based off of the secondary better and having more help on the defensive line.
Yeah, and it'll be a 2-man race between Aiden and Sweat, but I'm definitely taking Aiden Hutchinson. I believe in the growth that he can take a next step, contrary to Sam's beliefs. He can take that one more step up, and I expect him to do that, man. Like I said, 14 sacks should be the floor for him. I feel like as a Lions fan, that's not too much to ask. So, but if he has the season I think he's going to have with the additions that they made, he finally got some form of help on the other side of him as well as DJ Reader. I think he does lead the NFC North in sacks.
Yeah, I'm going with Hutch too. I got Hutch at 17.5 sacks this year. I think the man, I'm not going to hold that to him and say he's a bum if he doesn't get 17.5. But I'm with KG, where bottom line 14 is what I need out of him.
Yeah.
And I think I'm looking at Davenport and James Houston as one player. Like, if we can get a full season out of both of those guys combined, I'm happy with that. And those are guys that can beat one-on-ones on the outside, so that'll be some help for him.
Yep.
With Montez Sweat and Grenard, those are both very talented pass rushers as well, but I think the Lions will be in situations where the opponents are going to have to pass more because they're going to be out to leads and have the lead in games, while the Bears and the Vikings will not be in as many situations like that. So I think there'll be more opportunities for Hutch.
Yep.
All right, next question. Who will lead the North in INTs this season?
That's tough.
I'm going to go with Xavier McKinney. And here's my rationale, because I wanted to phrase this question differently. Xavier McKinney, to me, is the best safety in the NFC North by a pretty wide margin right now, and he's excellent in coverage. That might lead to him not getting targeted as much, but he had 3 picks last year. He's a blanket, and I'm a big Xavier McKinney fan, and I can't go up against him on this one, because interceptions aren't everything either. But for my own sanity of this prediction, give me Xavier McKinney.
That's not a bad pick. I won't sweat you for it. I hate to be a homer, man. Give me Carlton Davis. Wow. I feel like Carlton Davis will have a resurgent year with this defense, being with Deshae Townsend. I feel like if he can stay healthy, man, he can absolutely lead the NFC North in INT. So give me Carlton.
Korean Jesus, you booed. What's your pick?
Well, I'm going to let Spenny take it, because I know that I have the same one as Spenny, and I believe he said it first when I was on heavyweights that day, so I can't take credit.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're a man of honor. Not just the NFC North.
I know you're
Kirby Joseph will lead the NFL in interceptions next year. He will be the NFL leader in interceptions next year. He will not have to reach because of bad coverage from his corners. He will be able to be that center fielder, that difference maker that we saw in year 1 and flashes of in year 2. Only in year 2, he had to overcompensate because his corners were consistently getting burnt. With the better corners that are going to be glued to people one-on-one, Kirby Joseph will be able to move around and make plays on the ball, which is what he is so special at. Kirby Joseph will not only lead the NFC North, he will lead the NFL in interceptions.
That's bold.
Damn.
That's bold, man. But we'd obviously love to see it happen. Is that your pick too, Korean Jesus?
Yes, it is. I'm right there with Spenmo with the same exact logic and reasoning. I won't waste anyone's time by repeating
It's not unfounded. He's led the team in picks each of his first couple of years. So I can't say that that's a dumb opinion or anything like that. We'd love to see it happen. But yeah, question 5.
Final question of the NFC North nickel package. Who leads the NFC North in TD passes this season?
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I know I'm about to get slings and arrows, and here's why. And this isn't a knock. This is not a knock on Jared Goff whatsoever. I think that guys like Montgomery and Gibbs are going to get more red zone touches than, say, Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon. I think a guy like David Montgomery, for example, is way more proficient at the goal line than A.J. Dillon, who just has quads for show, is. And also, when it comes to their receivers, guys like Wicks, guys like Watson, guys like Jaden Reed, they have a very high touchdown catch per actual catch. They're guys who showed to be red zone threats. So for those reasons, I think it'll be close. I think Jordan Love will have maybe 1 or 2 more. Doesn't reflect that he's a better quarterback, but give me Jordan Love.
I would have to agree, unfortunately. I think it'll be Jordan Love, but Jared Goff would be right under him. And when you look at the run game that the Lions have, a lot of our touchdowns will come from the run game as well. So just by that logic alone, I would have to say Jordan Love.
Yeah, you had 2 running backs with double-digit touchdowns last year.
Exactly.
That's all that it is. Don't look too deep into this, guys.
Yeah, Jordan Love, I think it's going to be Jordan Love too. I don't think it's going to be this crazy differential. It'll be pretty close. But I do think it's Jordan Love, like Sam said. You had 2 running backs who had 10 touchdowns each on the ground.
Absolutely. Korean Jesus, go ahead.
It's
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I was gonna joke around and say JJ and then say I was kidding, but I didn't want to get clipped and get put on blast because that is very possible on this station. So I'm gonna go with Jordan Love. Same reasons. We have a loaded backfield. I don't really trust Josh Jacobs as much as the next guy. So
that's fair. That's 100% fair. And I forgot to mention those 2 big young tight ends that Jordan Love has to throw to Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. There's just a lot of red zone targets.
Yeah.
But again, not a reflection on Goff or Love as quarterbacks. Touchdown passes. I mean, Dak had 36, and everybody thinks that he stinks, and he does in the playoffs for the record. But just to give a little bit of context. But KG, before we get to the NFL nickel package, which you all are on pins and needles about, where do you go to get the best insurance?
We go to Swiss, of course, man. Swiss Insurance, now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier is not slipping in extra fees, because we all hate extra fees, man. So call my man Mark today over at Swiss, 313-530-1698, or you can go to swissins.com.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Enough Detroit sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. Keeping it pushing, going into hour 2 of Big D Energy on a big package Friday. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Neil Rule. We got KG to my left filling in for Darren McCarty. We got Korean Jesus in the audio booth and Spencer Raxter in the TD booth, as always, doing a fantastic job like he always does on this show and Woodward Heavyweights, which you should watch later from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern time, just like every other weekday.
Shout out.
Spenny, hit us with the NFL nickel package, please.
All right, first question of the NFL nickel package. Which team is the #1 challenger to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West?
Chargers. I'm going to go with Chargers. I believe in Justin Herbert. I like what they did getting Joe Alt, who I think is a ready-made plug-and-play, maybe the next Penny, a little lesser version, but still on the offensive line to pair with Rashawn Slater. And honestly, call me crazy, I think their pass-catching room has a chance to be better than people think.
Really?
I think DJ Chark was a nice get. Joshua Palmer's solid. Quentin Johnston looks like he sucks, but this is a year where you either put up or shut up.
Yeah.
And this will make Broder happy. I think Lad McConkey will be good. I'm going to call him Lad Broder from now on, by the way. I think that would be the best compliment to him.
Guy,
and even defensively, you still got Mack and Bosa for now. You got Junior Colson in the draft, who I think is going to be that plug-and-play middle linebacker. You've got Derwin James and Asante Samuel Jr. in the secondary, and you drafted Cam Hart, who, as a 5th-round pick, it's hard to play right away, but I think I think he's one of those more NFL-ready, low-ceiling type of guys who's going to be solid. So give me the Chargers. I think the Broncos are going nowhere, and the Raiders have Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, I would have to agree, man. The Chargers, man. You look at Jim Harbaugh, the quote-quote QB guru. It's no more excuses for Justin Herbert. Now, they did take a drop-off in pass catchers, letting Keenan Allen go and things of that nature. But like you said, they do have potential to be good. The defense is still really good. I love what they did in the draft with Joe Alton Jr. Colson. So right now, I would definitely have to say the Chargers are the next up to them.
Yeah, I think it's the Chargers as well. You know, I don't think the Broncos are going to be anything next year. The Raiders still have to find a legit quarterback. The Broncos have a great quarterback. They've got a great head coach. I thought Junior Colson was the best linebacker in the draft. I think Joe Alt is, when we look back, is going to be the best player out of this draft. And, I think they've got the team. I don't think they'll give too much of a run for the Chiefs, but if I had to pick one, I would pick the Chargers.
Fair enough.
I agree, and I just want to say it's an absolute disappointment that the Hail to the Victors is out of the soundboard, because I was about to play that when Sam was talking.
Yeah.
And
we'll get it back.
And I didn't even
Why,
mention
is that the Chargers theme song?
Well,
he left you. Get over it.
Here's the thing. I'm actually fine with Jim Harbaugh leaving because he got us something that I never witnessed. 1997, I was way too young. But anywho.
And they got nothing. You hear me? They got nothing.
Well, and the thing is, objectively,
shout out Neil.
Brandon Staley is one of the worst NFL coaches I've ever seen.
Yes.
Jim Harbaugh is proven as an NFL coach that he's great everywhere that he goes, and I think Jesse Minter is a ready-made NFL superstar defensive coordinator in waiting. So yes, for all those reasons, I think we all agree on the Chargers. Question 2.
Question 2, pick one team that did not make the playoffs last season that is a legit Super Bowl contender this year. Wow.
Jets.
Oh, come on,
New York
bro.
Jets.
He rewrote the question just so he can say that.
Okay, Braylon.
You can't really pick anybody else.
No, I mean, here's the thing. The Jets, and I'm going to give this caveat because you all think Aaron Rodgers is a broken down guy who can't play anymore. Even with Tyrod Taylor, guys, this is one of the best rosters in the NFL. Mm-hmm. In the NFL, they fixed the offensive line through the draft with Olu Fashanu, through acquiring guys like Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith, keeping presumably Aaron Rodgers, upright. You've given yourself, in my opinion, one of the best backfield duos, drafting Braylon Allen. Shout out Chase Amley. I know you love the guy, to pair with Breece Hall. You've got a wide receiver room that's got outside slot, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and then Malachi Corley. And that defense, which was already great last year, basically lost almost nobody except Bryce Huff, but then you replace them with a more complete defensive end in Hassan Reddick. Quinnen Williams is a superstar. Sauce Gardner is a superstar. Give me the New York Jets, whether Aaron Rodgers is there or not. Just don't be Zach Wilson and be ass. Be competent or be Aaron Rodgers.
Look, I don't want to have to say the Jets, so I'm going to take a pass on this question because looking at the other options, it does seem like the Bengals. Well, oh yeah, the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. Well, screw it. Give me the Bengals, man. Because I'm definitely not picking Aaron Rodgers and them bum-ass Jets. But, if Joe Burrow, if he can stay healthy, obviously we know what they're capable of. They did take a back seat on defense, though. They lost DJ Reader. They got a little bit of a situation with the wide receiver over there and Trey Hendrickson kind of wanting out. So, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'll go Bengals just so I don't say the Jets.
I'm going to go Jets, too. I'm with Flannel on that 100%. I thought the Jets were going to be a Super Bowl contender last year. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers got hurt, so that didn't happen. But I think they could do it. They have one of the most complete rosters in the NFL.
I'm going with a sneaky one that was not mentioned, and they were a play away from being in the playoffs last season, and that is the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
I think that they're sneaky good. I think they only improved. I'm so hyped to see AR play this year. I think that he could have a huge breakout. And without AR, they did great. I think that it only could go up from here. And they added Quinton Mitchell, which I also love that pickup too. So I'm excited.
I love Anthony Richardson. If he can stay healthy, they'll be pretty good.
Absolutely. Question 3.
Question 3, third question of the nickel package. Pick one playoff team from the last season that will miss the playoffs this season.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay. Yeah. And that more to me is a product of, even though I vehemently disagree with what the Falcons did in the draft, this offense is going to explode.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson is going to explode. So is Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They have a good offensive line led by Chris Lidstrom, who's the best guard in the NFL. I wish they would have addressed their pass rush a little bit more, because relying on Grady Jarrett and Braylon Trice as a third-round pick, I don't think that that's the best option. Got a good secondary, Jesse Bates and A.J. Terrell. It's just the Falcons, I think they are going to go from one of the most unwatchable offenses only because of their quarterback to one that just is one of a top maybe 7 in the NFL. Because Kirk Cousins, he can put up some numbers. He can feed the playmakers. So give me the Atlanta Falcons.
I would have to second.
I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers, and I would have to second that. Only because the NFC South is always a crapshoot. You never know what the hell is going to happen with them. I do like the Bucs. They seem to believe in Baker Mayfield. They have been better with him at the helm, but like you said, the Falcons, you got to kind of account for them. I don't know what we'll see out of them just yet, especially with all the controversy and stuff going on. But on paper, they have a more than ready offense, and the defense should be able to match that as well. So give me the Bucs.
Absolutely.
I'm going with the Browns. I'm going to go with the Browns.
That's a good
because
one.
I think that obviously the Jets are going to get in, so that'll be one of those wild card spots between them and the Bills, whoever takes that. And I really think Pittsburgh's going to be really good this year. And they made the playoffs last year. So out of that division, you're not going to get 3 again from that division. So I think the Browns are going to be the one that miss.
I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, and I'm going to go with my narrative that this is going to be a regression for Josh Allen, losing all of his stars, losing a bunch of pieces on defense. I just think they lost too much of their veteran presence for them to have another solid season and make the playoffs in a really loaded AFC.
I don't hate it. I'm a Josh Allen stan, so I don't agree, but your logic is certainly not flawed. Question 4.
Question 4, fourth question of the NFL nickel package. Will the Steelers win more games this season than last season?
Yes.
I didn't even read that one.
Yes. How many did they win? What, 9? They were 9-8?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, by one game. Yes, they will win more games this year. But when you look at just what they've done at the quarterback position, they've done a lot to fix that offensive line. I don't know if it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, but to me, it doesn't really matter. With my man's as the coach, what's his name? I'm sorry, it's slipping my mind.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. Yeah, with Mike Tomlin at coach, he can do no wrong. The man just refuses to lose. So I got them definitely probably being 10-win team this year.
I think losing to Tim Tebow, Baker Mayfield, and Blake Bortles in the playoffs is wrong. But anywho, we've had this discussion.
You hate Mike
before.
Tomlin.
I think he's massively overrated. But that's another discussion for another day. We've hashed that out. With the Steelers, I think on paper they are good. They are much better. And I think what they did, like, if you don't think they upgraded at the quarterback, then you're just a blind Russell Wilson hater because they had Kenny fucking Pickett last year. And even Justin Fields is better than Kenny Pickett. But I'm looking down the stretch. Their last 8 or so games, home versus Baltimore, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, home versus Cleveland, at Philly, at Baltimore, home Kansas City, home Cincinnati.
That's a gauntlet.
That's tough. And for that reason alone, even though I think they're better, I like what they've done with their offensive line the last couple of years. Obviously, like guys like Watt and Fitzpatrick on defense. I think they're going to win the exact same. Give me 9, and it's only because the schedule at the end. Nobody can survive that without a lot of blemishes.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are going to go. I think they could win 11 games this year. Like they have one of the best defenses in the league. Their offensive line is extremely improved with guys like Tony Fatanu, Zach Frazier, and who's their other tackle? Oh, Broderick Jones on the other side. Like their offensive line is going to be extremely better than it was last year, and their quarterback both of their quarterbacks this year are better than Kenny Pickett. Yeah. Like if it's Russell Wilson or Justin Fields,
it don't matter.
Both of those guys are extremely better than Kenny Pickett. I really liked what they did adding Roman Wilson. I think he's a fantastic complement to Pickens in that offense. Jalen Warren and Najee Harris are going to be a nasty backfield next year. So yeah, give me the 10 or 11 wins for the Steelers next year.
I'm also on board. I loved their draft. I think that Peyton Wilson's a home run pick that late in the draft.
It's a good one too.
I think that their O-line picks were both very good picks as well. Their O-line should be improved, which is my big issue with them last year. So I 100% see them having a good year and getting definitely over 9 wins.
All right, final question of the NFL nickel package. Is Joe Burrow a legitimate MVP candidate heading into this season?
Absolutely. I mean, Joe Burrow in his 2 prime years in 2021 and 2022, I have my issues. I think he's a bit of an overrated playoff quarterback, and the Joe Cool narrative bothers me a little bit. But he's still a damn good quarterback. He's top 5 when he's healthy. He had 34 touchdowns in 2021, 35 in 2022. They made the Super Bowl one year. They made the AFC Championship another. I know they've had some losses to guys like Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon, and there's some uncertainty at the wide receiver position, but I also think he's playing with maybe the best O-line he's ever played with. So, yes, a healthy Joe Burrow is absolutely an MVP candidate.
On paper, yes, but I just need to see it, man, because he can't seem to stay upright. I just need to see it. That's all I'm saying.
See what?
I need to see him stay healthy.
Okay,
that's
fine.
all.
Okay,
he owns Patrick Mahomes.
That's not true.
Right, but
Burrowhead.
But, on paper, he
Definitely
is.
not.
But I would just say that I need to see it first. I need to see him stay on the field for a whole season. He does still have Jamar Chase. He has the weapons there to do it, but like I said, I just need to see him stay healthy. That's it.
Yes, he absolutely is an MVP candidate next year. I think they're going to get T. Higgins sorted out, whether they extend him or he just comes back for a run. And Zach Moss as your running back is not that big of a drop-off from Joe Mixon. Honestly, I like Zach Moss. And using that, if you think it's a drop-off, that means they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more. Yeah. And that means Joe Burrow is going to be putting up crazy numbers. So if he can stay healthy, I could see him going for 5,040 touchdowns.
And I like Chase Brown as their backup as well. One of my favorite running backs coming out of the previous draft. Go ahead, Jesus.
I think that MVP is such a front-runner award where your team has to be good enough, and I just don't think the Bengals are going to be good enough for him to win this award.
That's fair.
I don't hate that at all. And coming up next, we're going to get into the NBA nickel package because how could you not? The finals are set. I'm really looking forward to that one. But first, I have to tell you about Feldman. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. They can help out myself and Matt Broder with our car buying needs, and they certainly can to you as well. Visit a Feldman in Metro Detroit today.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Glorious has the good smoke for you, man. The new Ice Water Glorious Bubble Hash Pre-Roll, now with diamonds, constantly pushing to create the best Kenna experience. The perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flower with the highest terps, making the best even better. GloriousCannabis.com or Glorious Cannabis. Check us out at your local retailer or GloriousCanna.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And without further ado, let's get into the NBA nickel package on the heels of the NBA Finals being set. Go ahead, Spenny.
First question of the NBA nickel package: is Luka Doncic the best basketball player on the planet?
I think he needs a Finals MVP this year because you can't just take it away from Jokic just yet. He's the MVP this year. He was the final MVP last year. But with what Luka has done in such a short career, he's just coming off a scoring title. He's, I believe, top 3 in regular season scoring and top 3 in playoff scoring on a per game basis. I know it's all its prime years, but still it's pretty damn impressive. A Finals MVP to me would cement Luka as the best player on the planet, but he needs to do that first.
Yeah, we in lockstep, man. I need to see a championship and a Finals MVP in order to crown him as the best player. It's still Jokic right now. And yeah, everything you just said, man, I'm totally agree.
Yeah, I'm right in lockstep with you guys. If he wins the chip, I'll give it to him, but right now it's still Jokic.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys just said.
Cool.
All right, next question of the NBA nickel package: does this series, being the finals, make or break Jason Tatum's career?
Yes, but I'll let you go ahead. No,
well, Jason Tatum to me is somebody that I don't ever foresee him being like an all-time great. But when you really look at his career, he's had 3 first-team All-NBAs. He's had a lot of success. The Celtics have done a lot of winning, both in the regular season and in the playoffs with him as their best player. If he wins a Finals MVP this year, honestly, the only Celtics that I would definitively take over him all time, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, John Havlicek. And then you could have arguments about guys like McHale and Paul Pierce and all of that, but if he wins I would probably say that that's another one that's a bit of an argument. But Jason Tatum, man, he could be an absolute Celtics legend and then be knocking on the door as, I don't know, a top 40 player of all time with a Finals MVP with a long career to come. So yes, what he can be looked at in terms of his reputation, in terms of his outlook in NBA lore, I guess it is make or break. I'm not going to look at it as a massive disappointment if he loses because I don't think as highly of Jason Tatum. I think he's with or without Hall of Fame player, but with. Yeah. So I guess it is make or break.
Yeah, it is a make or break for me too, man. And this guy was billed as one of probably the top faces of the NBA. And we just haven't seen it yet. We've seen him get to the dance, and we've also seen how he's performed in the playoffs and on the biggest stage, man. So absolutely, this is a make or break year for him because if he doesn't get it done this year, we're looking at probably saying Jaylen Brown is the better player of the two. For all the reasons you said, man, Jason Tatum, he got to win one.
That's what I was about to say. Not only does he need to win the championship, he needs to win Finals MVP.
Yeah.
Because right now he's not the best player on his own team.
Yeah.
So like Jaylen Brown has been outperforming him all playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So if he doesn't go out there and average 32 a game and put up crazy numbers and win Finals MVP, he will be looked at as the second best player on his own team. Rightfully so.
Yeah, go ahead.
He is no dog. He has got no dog in him. He's got
That's
no
true.
killer, and I cannot stand him watching him play basketball because he plays like a bitch.
Damn.
Damn.
Alrighty then.
All right, tell us how you really feel.
All right, next question. I'm with you, though. He definitely does not have the dog in him. Next question of the NBA nickel package. I agree with this. Stan Van Gundy, I've been saying it for a little while. Stan Van Gundy put it on wraps in not last game, but the game before that. Are Luka and Kyrie the best offensive backcourt in NBA history?
How do you say they aren't?
All right, so I actually will give a bit of a caveat to this. I think with a championship, they are. I would still give it to Steph and Clay for now because I know Klay Thompson, unfortunately, has spent his last years in the NBA as kind of an injury-riddled shell of himself. Not his fault, but that's how it is. We forget how great that he was and how well they complemented each other. Those are maybe the two best shooters who ever walked Earth on the same team winning championships. However, though, with a championship, with the skill levels of both Luka and Kyrie, I would give it to them. And it also brings about the point. There aren't a lot of great offensive backcourts in NBA history. It's not something you often see. I mean, you've got, of course, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. They're not the offensive duo of Luka and Kyrie. You look at even like a Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. Of course not. I know Gail Goodrich and Jerry West. No. So, yes, I think right now it's Steph and Clay and then Luka and Kyrie potentially in waiting.
Yeah, and that's fair because you do got to account the Splash Bros, but even Clay at his best, he's wasn't a Kyrie Irving.
Of course not. Of course not.
He's no Kyrie Irving. So right now, like you said, the championship would solidify it, but I think it's kind of okay to say that they are the best as at this point.
Most talented, no doubt. I'll say that. Go ahead, Spenny.
That's where I'm with KG. Like offensively, these guys are both. This is the best offensive backcourt. They're the most offensively gifted pair of teammates I've ever seen outside of Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. Like Klay Thompson he's a shooter. He's a spot up shooter.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving is a shooter, a finisher, a ball handler, a distributor, and so is Luka. Like they have more to their offensive game than Klay does.
Big facts.
Yeah, I agree with KG and Spenny. I will admit I am a huge Steph Curry fan. He's arguably my favorite player in the NBA. And I cannot agree with you, Sam. I'm sorry. I think that these two, just in terms of creating their own shot, and also being a distributor, is on just a completely different level than how catch and shoot based and oriented Steph and Clay are.
And for the record, DNCENT, I may have misspoke, but I don't think I did. I'm not saying duos of all time because he mentioned, Stockton, Malone, and Shaq and Kobe. I'm talking about backcourts, offensive backcourts. So if I wasn't clear, my bad. But if I was, use those ears. I'm not sure which one yet. I'll find out later. Go ahead with question 4.
Next question 4 of the nickel package. Should the T-Wolves trade Karl Anthony Towns?
Why are you keeping him at this point? I know that you got
because nobody's gonna trade for Rudy. So if you're gonna break it up, you got to get rid of Cat. If you want to actually,
no. This isn't. I'm not gonna defend Karl Anthony Towns with my life or anything like that. In my opinion, maybe you guys disagree. I don't look at this as this miserable failure for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I look at this as kind of a growing pain for like an Anthony Edwards, and you have to objectively say that besides for the Western Conference Finals, and this is a big besides for. Karl Anthony Towns is a number 2 option in the regular season and for the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. So it's pretty good. You got to make sure that you can complement Anthony Edwards with somebody, but you already know that Karl Anthony Towns is at least competent enough to help get the Timberwolves to where they were. So I'm not so sure I would.
I would, man, because it just hasn't worked with Karl Towns. And albeit they had the best year that they've ever had as a franchise, especially recently. But, yeah, I just don't see it working going forward with Cat. He can go to a different team and be successful, but eventually they got to move off somebody. They got to break this thing up. You definitely, Anthony Edwards is your cornerstone. Nobody's going to trade for Gobert, to your point. So it would have to be Cat just by process of elimination.
I agree. I think I hate Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's soft.
We know.
I think he's soft. I think he's. I'm not going to get into that, but Nobody's going to trade for Gobert with the amount of money he's making.
Yeah.
You'll never get a good return enough to justify trading him. And I think Anthony Edwards, what would benefit him more than a Karl Anthony Towns type player would be an all-star level point guard.
Yes.
A guy that can initiate the offense on his own, a guy that could take the load, bringing the ball up the court and do it. Like we saw how much Mike Conley, it helped Anthony Edwards. Imagine if you had a legit, like, I don't want to say superstar because they don't grow on tree, but yeah, a superstar, a Karl Anthony Towns level point guard, I think would benefit Anthony Edwards more, and that would be a better fit.
That's not a bad option either. I could see that working out
And
as well.
It's just run his course, man. He's been there for forever.
Yeah. We'll see. Question
Oh my God,
5.
they brought you up in media. It was crazy. All right, question 5 of the NBA nickel package. Will Tyrese Halliburton ever make it back to an Eastern Conference Finals with the Pacers?
Ever is very definitive.
That's crazy.
I'm going to say yes, but I think they're losing Siakam. And he was their second star this year.
And they had a path like busted out for them with the injuries that they ran into.
They did.
Well, you made a good point. I think a healthy Knicks team beats them.
Yes.
I do. I 100% do. I mean, you look at, and that was with a healthy
Bucks
Pascal
team.
Siakam. I mean,
Siakam
100%.
to
Giannis
Detroit.
Antetokounmpo is going to always be a factor if he comes back healthy, although injuries in the playoffs have been a problem with him the last couple of years. I look at, too, Pascal being gone, Pascal Siakam. I know that they may have found some diamonds in the rough with like an Andrew Nembhard or an Aaron Nesmith, and even Benedict Mathurin looks promising. Miles Turner is kind of a mainstay. But when you really list all of those guys to put around Halliburton, I don't know if that's an Eastern Conference Finals team without Pascal Siakam. So I'm going to say yes, but only because saying ever is just too much of a definitive statement.
And me and you is on the same page. Yeah, you can't really say ever, especially considering the type of player he is.
Yeah.
He's so dynamic that, yes, I can easily see him getting back, but what team will he have? What will they look like? And then you look at everybody else that's in the East. You still got Milwaukee. You still New York possibly on the come up too. It's tough, man. So I would say yes, he will, but just like you said, if Pascal leaves, then not anytime soon.
I'm going to say no. I don't think he will ever make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals as the number one option for the Pacers. Like, I think they had a path paved in gold for them this year to do that with the injuries they ran into. Obviously, Giannis and Dame both banged up and half of the Knicks roster injured. That's not going to happen again. That stuff doesn't just lay in front of you every year. So I don't think him as the number one option for the Pacers, he'll ever make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, if they bring in another superstar to put next to him, or he goes to another team, yeah, I could see that happening. But right now, as the team is assembled, no.
I agree. I question whether Halliburton can be that guy and really carry a team through a playoff run. I didn't get to answer the last question. Spenny, at least hit him with your classic, Cat is a
bitch.
Oh, I was going to say bum, but you went with
he's a bum, too. He's a bum.
A bitch and a bum.
My bad, Korean.
All bark, no bite from Cat. And honestly, Tyrese Halliburton.
And the bark is kind of suspect.
Yeah. I feel, hey, you better watch how you talking about a future Piston.
Yeah, dude. If the Pistons
going to be a future Piston.
if the Pistons trade for Karl Anthony Towns, I will burn every piece of
serious?
Pistons gear.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
He's a bum.
He shoots threes better than any big man in the league.
Didn't do it in last series.
That's true. He completely shat the bed. That's 100%.
Called himself the best shooting big man of all time and shot like 13%.
Yeah. Can't do that. Can't do that if you're going to make a bold statement like that. And coming up next, we are going to get into a college football nickel package. That is one of the best times of the year. But first, Spenny, where can you get your pet the best supplies?
Premier Pet Supply, obviously, because whether it's Holly or Bear that you're looking for pet supplies for, Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences, the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. They're family and locally owned and operated for over 30 years. With 60 different brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. Same day local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more for over 90 years.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports Clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
We all know what happens when you run a great business for over 50 years. You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford has did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet, let's drive.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And now coming up next, questions that were created by the great Korean Jesus himself.
Yeah.
Let's do a college football nickel package because it is the best time of year. And sometimes I just like to get that vibe in the air. So without any further ado, go right ahead.
Let's run it up. All right. So 24/7 Sports, Carter Baines has nine Big Ten and SEC schools in the top 12 of his post-spring ball rankings. What is a realistic number of teams that could make the playoff from these two conferences?
9. I really believe 9. I think you got Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, Michigan. Although there's some questions about Michigan, but I'll include them because they're defending national champions who returned some guys.
Yeah.
And then you look at Penn State in this expanded playoff before everybody's head explodes. They don't play Oregon. They have a weak non-conference. They get Ohio State at home. They got some returning guys as well.
Ooh.
Hey, in the expanded, keyword expanded.
Aiden Childs.
Doesn't matter. They'll lose in the actual playoff because they are notorious chokers.
Well, they'll lose in the playoff, but the question is get in. I mean, Ole Miss, same thing. Weak non-con, no Bama, Georgia at home, Texas. You've got
Ole Miss is also going to be nasty this year. They're going to be a top 5 team this year, regardless of their schedule.
That's fair, but their schedule will definitely keep them in. And I think Texas and LSU are kind of the wild cards. Both have some schedule breaks, although Texas at Michigan, home Georgia, but they have no Bama. LSU, no Georgia, Bama at home. I think it actually could be 9. I really do. I don't think that's crazy.
And you think 9 wins is the mark to get in?
I'd say 10, personally.
10
but we'll
with
see.
Maybe 1 or 2 9-win teams at the back end?
I could see it. I can understand percent see it.
All right. Down number 2. Which team struggles most moving to the Big Ten?
Washington. It's 100% Washington because they are getting gutted. They lose Penix. They lose their 3 wide receivers, all NFL guys. They lose their head coach. They lose their starting running back. They lose their defensive end. They lose their corner to Oregon, Jabbar Muhammad. They lose their 2 best offensive linemen. Washington is due for, I think, a 6 or 7 win team. They are going to struggle their first year in the Big Ten, 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I would also like to mark on UCLA. I think they're also going to struggle as they're kind of in it.
I just think they're not good. With Washington, you're going to see just off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing DeBoer is obviously detrimental to their program. I don't know how they're necessarily going to recover from that within this year. And then, we'll see. But let's go to down number 3. What is your first-year expectations for Sharon Moore and Jonathan Smith?
This one we can definitely go around the room. I'll start with Sharon Moore. I say playoff appearance. And I don't know if they're necessarily going to win. I'm just...
I heard that.
All right, fine. Let me explain. Obviously, the quarterback is a question. Their offensive line is a question. Those have been stable forces for the last couple of years. But defensively, they're going to be nasty. They might have the best front 4 in the country. They got Will Johnson. Losing Rod Moore is going to be tough. But to me, I'm going to say Michigan. Michigan, playoff appearance. Michigan State, bowl game. They have done some work in the transfer portal. They did lose some guys, and Spenny can elaborate on that more. But Aiden Childs, he gives the Michigan State something that they haven't had at the quarterback position in a while, excitement. Spenny, what do you think?
I would agree with that. I think a bowl win, 7 wins is what I'm looking for out of Jonathan Smith and Michigan State. They have a top 3 portal class in the Big Ten behind Oregon and Ohio State. Like they're loaded up with guys. They got some great players in the secondary and on that offensive line. So I really expect them to be much better. I mean, you can't be worse than they were last year. They don't have a fucking idiot calling plays anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Aiden Childs is the best quarterback Michigan State has had since probably Connor Cook.
Yeah.
So I expect them to go out there and to be competitive, win 6 or 7 games, get into a bowl, and then for Michigan, yeah, that's what Michigan should be. Michigan should be a playoff team, even with the amount of talent they left. But I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to look like. I don't know what that offense is going to look like. I expect them to be a playoff team for sure, but I would not expect, or I wouldn't be surprised if they just missed it because of the, like, I think they're just going to be run offense. Who is their quarterback going to be? Orgy? Like, we don't even know who their quarterback is yet.
We don't know. And the reality is that last couple years, you had a quarterback who turned out to be a top 10 draft pick and a team that was a Joe Moore offensive line, and then last year was a damn good one as well. And all of them gone. All their offensive line gone. JJ McCarthy gone.
All of that gone. JJ gone. Harbaugh gone. Their offensive line gone. But their defense could carry them to the college football playoff.
We need Donovan Edwards and Colson Loveland to play like Colson Loveland, like the first round draft pick that he's going to be, and Donovan Edwards to have a resurgent year. And then maybe I could definitely say playoffs, but it's a question mark. I expect their defense is going to be great, and I expect some people to step up on the offense. I mean, Donovan Edwards and Colson Loveland are knowns. They're not like freshmen or anything like that, so I could see it. Tyler Morris as well. Look for him at the wide receiver position. He had a touchdown in the Rose Bowl. I think he's going to be very good. KG?
Yeah, I would expect at least 9 wins from Moore and a bowl appearance from Smith, which would be around 6. Absolutely, Sharon Moore, they definitely took a hit offensively, but with Sharon Moore being fully in control, I feel like they'll do a lot of different things on offense, maybe open it up a little more. We're not sure what the quarterback situation looks like, but if it is Alex Orji, I expect him to take a bit of a step up, man. But definitely 9 wins for them, and for MSU, just a bowl appearance would be good for y'all. Y'all did really good as far as recruiting this year, so I expect a bowl appearance, 6 wins.
You can go ahead.
So I'm going to start with Michigan State, actually. I'm going to do the opposite of you guys. I think Michigan State is in a beautiful position to come win in the Big Ten. I think Jonathan Smith is an A-plus hire that perfectly fits Michigan State and the Big Ten. I think with bringing in all those players from Oregon State and from others with the top portal class, I think 7 wins is what I'm expecting. I wouldn't even be surprised. I don't necessarily know their schedule and how difficult it is, but if they have an easy schedule, I could see them getting 8 wins. But that's a little far-fetched, I will say, but I could see it. And then for Michigan, I totally expect them to make the playoff, whether that's 9 wins or 10 wins. I think that they probably, I'm sorry, Michigan fans, but I believe that Michigan will probably lose to Ohio State this year. It in the shoe with Orji, I don't love that. He's not JJ. I'll say it straight up like that. He's not JJ. He's not. I don't think he's gonna go into the shoe and win in his first career start. So. In the shoe. So
that's not a crazy opinion. Ohio State has to win. They have no choice.
No, seriously.
Ryan Day's gone. If they lose, he's gone. You can't lose back-to-back years to an interim coach and then
you mean back-to-back
Harbaugh's replacement. Oh yeah. Well, I meant to Sharon Moore.
I know what you mean. Okay, go question 4.
Question 4. Does Marcus Freeman finally have it figured out, and then will they win a playoff game with Riley Leonard?
Yes, he has it figured out. I don't think they'll win a playoff game. I think they'll make it though. They got a couple of tough road games. They got at USC, at A&M. They got to make sure they win at least one, or hell, maybe they don't. But other than that,
USC is not a tough game.
Come on,
I'll disrespect them as I please. They showed me last year with Caleb Williams that they ain't that great.
Fine, and that's fair. They're soft, but I expect Lincoln Riley with his offensive acumen, like Miller Moses, I think he's going to be just fine. He's not Caleb Williams, but I think Notre Dame is going to be really good. Yeah. When you look at when you look at my favorite website, the PFF Big Board for next year, they have 4 guys who are projected as top 41 picks, and they've got 3 more who are projected as, which would make 7 as top 105 picks, and they get a quarterback in Riley Leonard, who I think is an upgrade over Sam Hartman. So, yeah, I think Notre Dame will definitely make the playoffs, but they will lose in the first round. But Marcus Freeman, yes, that's a successful season for him at this stage. So, yes, Marcus Freeman has figured it out.
I won't get super in-depth, but I do not believe in Marcus Freeman to this point, man. They keep hyping him up like he's going to be the savior of Notre Dame. He has yet to do so. I know they have recruited fairly well, but I just don't see it, man. I don't. He got to prove it to me.
Show us.
Yeah, I see him making the playoff because their schedule's cake, but every time they step onto the big stage against a real opponent,
they
get
true washed.
Real
100%.
opponent,
They get washed
every
every time.
Every time. I understood.
And as soon as they play whoever in the playoff, like their potential playoff matchup could be Utah or Ole Miss. They're getting their doors blown off by both those teams.
Michigan
Absolutely.
State beats Notre Dame in the playoff. Book it.
And so
it would be the
down
craziest
number
thing.
5.
Yes.
Who is your Heisman favorite and your Heisman long shot?
Aiden Childs, both.
hey, that would actually qualify as both. For the
Yeah,
record.
it would,
certainly
but
would.
that's crazy.
If that happens, then I'm going to call you the Prophet Spenny for
Hey,
like an entire
I
week.
called Texas beating Bama last year.
You did, but that's even more of a long shot.
That's
Come on.
fair.
But I am going to say my favorite, and this is something that me and Neil discuss. I'm going to go Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, I believe, does enough with his legs, which you're going to have to do. He's got one of his best wide receivers coming back, and a 1,000-yard guy. He's got his tight end coming back. He's got a transfer in Antoine Wells, who was supposed to break out for South Carolina last year, but he got hurt, and Xavier Legette did instead. He's got all the talent. He's going to put up big numbers. He's going to get some stuff going. He's going to get some yards and touchdowns going on the ground, which I think is important for a Heisman case. And if I were going to give a dark horse, I am going to go with Nico Iamaleava. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe so, yes.
From Tennessee. And the question with Tennessee is, who's he going to throw the ball to? They've lost a lot of weapons over the last couple of years, but he's more talented than Hendon Hooker was. He's certainly, I think, going to be a better quarterback than Joe Milton. And in the Josh Heupel offense, I think he's going to absolutely thrive. And I think there's going to be a couple of maybe like a receiver that breaks out that you've never heard of. And it's going to be because he plays in that offense with Nico Iamaleava. He's dynamic, man. You saw it in the bowl game last year when he got that start.
I just want to piss you off with my long shot. Shador Sanders.
It's not crazy.
They won't be good enough. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think they will either, but I mean, the kid is talented.
Of course, he's going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if I had to pick a front runner, I mean, shit, I'll just go Quinn Ewers just for the F of it.
I mean, why not? He is one of the front runners. Carson Beck, I think he's going to have a good year as well. But give me Jackson Dart.
Is Connor Shaw still in the NCAA?
Connor Shaw?
Yeah.
It's South Carolina quarterback.
I feel like he's still there. He played there for like 12 years.
Who was there longer? Was Talia Tagovailoa in the NCAA or Connor Shaw longer in the NCAA?
It feels like Connor Shaw was. I swear to God, he was their quarterback.
We're talking about, I mean, those are called doctors. And doctors who took a couple extra years in college as well. Those guys were there for absolute ever 100%. But
Flannel, you took mine and Jackson Dart. I love that. We had this conversation a couple Fridays ago about, and all of us were buying the Ole Miss hype. I also love the Nico call. I think that's very interesting. I don't know if it will be this year because he is a sophomore. I'd say that's more of a trajectory for next year. But I'm gonna go with a couple long shots that I think are really, really good options. I'm going to go for the Big 12 because I think the Big 12 is set up for these quarterbacks to really take off with how kind of weaker the conference is, losing Texas and Oklahoma. So I think Jalen Daniels out of Kansas at 30-1 is a very good value pick. I think they could possibly have 8 wins this year or higher. I think I'm really high on them. Neil hated this one, but I'm high on DJU. I think going to Florida State is a very beneficial situation for him. And then my biggest long shot favorite is Cam Rising out of Utah. He's been there forever. He does what it takes to win, and I think Utah is going to win the Big 12 this year. So that's. Thank you for listening to the Nickel, and take it away, Sam.
Absolutely. I don't hate the Jalen Daniels one. He needs to stay on the field, which he didn't last year, but I don't see DJU putting up those kind of numbers. I don't think he's a bum of all bums, but I don't think he's a Heisman contender, but those are not bad choices. That's why you play the games, because some guys will come out of absolute nowhere.
Play the game.
Hey, but if you want to mellow out, KG, you know where to go.
Oh, yeah, you know I do, man. Dispo Dispensary. Right? They got deals too good to miss, man. You meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. They got the freshest inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through the stores, man, or order on Dispo Dash. Delivery, pickup, don't matter. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local
Smoke weed every day.
Hey.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is taking over Michigan. Locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit. They have doubled their number of locations this year. Known for their hand-battered chicken tenders, delicious chicken sandwiches, and New York-style pizza. You can find them at any mega station near you or go to Sorokis.com to figure out where you can get some of this great food.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Neil Rule, and we got KG for the second day in a row filling in for Darren McCarty. It's been fun, man.
It has.
Hey,
I must be doing something right. They let me back up here, so.
You are.
Hey,
well, 100%
it,
you are, and you have been since you got here, man.
Hey, stop it. It's people like you, man, that help make it possible, so I appreciate you, Sam.
I appreciate that, man.
I don't care what they say about my guy, man. Y'all do something to Sam, y'all got a problem with me, so.
Goes both ways, and for everybody in this room and at this network as well, including Mr. Korean Jesus. And I wanted to, if you guys heard Spetty in the background, he's not as sure about it as we all are, but you know, I will ride for Korean Jesus. And speaking of something that Korean Jesus has his pulse on for sure, how about those Florida Panthers, man? And discuss.
Yeah, it pains me. It pains me to say this. I cannot lie, because my original finals matchup was Rangers Stars. But I have a feeling that the Rangers kind of got the brakes taken off them last night, and they lost all their momentum. They got handed to them physically, mentally. Losing at home in a critical game just does something to a team. You can obviously never count on a team who has their back against the wall and who's been there and has the pedigree, as D-Mac says. But I don't know, man. What do you think?
I think that if I'm a Rangers fan, and I know people say I discredit role players and hockey's a little bit different. If I'm a Rangers fan, or if I'm a Rangers player, or anybody involved in the betterment and success of the New York Rangers, I'm pissed at the Stars. At like the star players. Zibanejad, 2 points in 5 games. That's not good enough. Panarin, 3 points in 5 games after having an MVP caliber season. And Chris Kreider, 2 points in 5 games. If they end up losing the series, which it looks like they will, those are going to be some performances that are looked upon with maybe you could have done a little bit more. I mean, you look at the Edmonton Oilers, who aren't as deep, but all of their superstars are showing out. From Hyman to Draisaitl to McDavid to even Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard. If the Stars showed out more for New York, they would be winning this series because, guys, you've gotten an overtime game winner from Alex Wenberg and a guy we discussed the other day, Barclay Goodrow. Barclay Goodrow followed up an overtime game winner with a 2-goal game. Alexis Lafreniere has given you 4 goals in this series. And all of that into consideration, the Rangers are going to lose. And if I'm a Rangers fan or a Rangers player, I am absolutely sick to my stomach right now. But at the end of the day, maybe Zibanejad, Panarin, Kreider can use it as motivation, because if they come back and win the series and those guys play well, it's a redemption story. If they don't, it's a playoff disappointment.
Yeah, narratives are only as good as the day that they're made. So, and I'd like to pivot this actually to talk about the Wings.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think that there's a very interesting way. So there's 2 ways you can build a team in the NHL. You can build it for finesse, for speed, like the Oilers do, or you can build them to be tough, big, and physical, like how the Panthers do. And we're at the point in our rebuild where we have to make that choice. Our team is relatively soft right now. We don't have enough big physical guys who can really make an impact on an everyday basis, like a Tkachuk. That is a guy, like if we could get Brady Tkachuk, it's now, Senators GM has come out and said that they're probably not going to deal him. He's a part of their core, but that might just be, to drive up his stock price. You never know. But someone like that is someone the Wings desperately need. And now that I've been watching these playoffs, the blueprint for me, for the Wings, is with the Panthers and it's with the Stars. Building with that depth, with that many guys who can get points, having the premier defenseman like Heiskanen, as we have Seider, and getting a 1G goalie to hold it down. I think that's how this team needs to be built from here on out.
Are there any guys, and you can include Edvinsson in this as well, because I think he's obviously a piece that fits in with that. Who, and we've talked about them before, who in the Grand Rapids Griffins or even lower down do you see as fits to this kind of tougher physical style of hockey?
See, I don't necessarily know yet because all these guys are so young. You usually don't have that big physical presence until you mature and your body matures and you add that weight to be that big of a force in the NHL. I think that it has to be addressed in the free agent market, especially in the short term. There are good options out there. There's even if you bring in, it doesn't even necessarily have to be someone who's known for it. It's just someone who will get dirty and get gritty and stick up for someone, a vet. Like Adam Henrique's a free agent. Like that would be an interesting bring because he's a gritty player, and we need a lot of grit on this team going forward to kind of bolster this roster into the new NHL that you either build it one or two ways, and you need a goalie and you need good defense.
Yeah, and the away fan who's really on the pulse of the Detroit Red Wings, he says Marco Kasper, that he's that kind of a guy. And I would probably tend to agree that he at least has the potential. Are you seeing Marco Kasper as a bright light in the Red Wings future?
Oh, 100%. I think that he is our two-way center of the future. He's going to be a guy who's relied on to go out there, play really good defense, contribute on the offensive end. And he's a pretty big body, so I can definitely see him filling out and having that role, and you want it to be a center. When it is a center instead of a winger, it is such a bigger advantage because of the fact that there's so much more defensive, they're liable for their defense. And I think that is really a key to driving forward for this team, is building through Seider, shoring up the decor, and letting that lead into, all right, let's fill in the pieces with physical forwards who can still score at a relatively good clip, and that's how we build this team, because it should be built around Seider and then Raymond second.
Oh, yeah, and I think it's great that last season, even though it didn't end the way that we wanted, I don't think anybody has any doubts about Seider anymore, or Raymond, or hell, even Dylan Larkin, at least as a part of this team moving forward, because to me, he's a 1C who's good enough for you to make the playoffs as a 1C, but you'd like more around him, of course, than they have. But hey, you've got some foundational pieces. You've got a good farm system. Probably this is the time to get a free agent or two. But yeah, we shall see. And before we go to our next break, who's winning Game 5 between the Stars and the Oilers?
It's the Stars.
Okay.
Here we go.
Unless I see some
Stars fan Justin
glaring news about Tanev, which it really does bother me. I mean, he's plus 22 defenseman who leads their team in block shots. That's something that cannot be overlooked at all. And I'm willing to say if he's not in the lineup tonight, I will be worried. There's no doubt about that. He is integral to this team's success, and I think that if the Stars don't have Tanev, they're in trouble, because those were two separate games in Game 4. Did you watch the game in Game 4?
Oh, yeah.
So you saw when he went out, they were up 2-0, 5-0 comeback. It was literally watching two completely separate games.
That's the thing. Tanev is one of the top shot blockers in the league. And do you think Draisaitl and McDavid and Hyman put up a lot of shots? I know it's not that simple, but it kind of was in that game. Although, of course, they were scored by some of the role players as well, but still. That could be the difference. We shall certainly see. But when we come back, let's do some mailbags. So drop your questions in for any of us. If you want them for me, KG, Korean Jesus, and James, intern James, who has taken Spenny's spot in the audio booth. But first, I got to tell you where you work out. Planet Fitness. Hey. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
Wearing the same old Detroit sports merch. It's a new era in sports wearables, new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Hoodies, tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com and click shop. Final segment of the day, live on the Woodward Sports Network. We are Big D Energy. It's a little bit of a different crew today. I am Flannel Sam. We got KG to my left, filling in for Darren McCarty. We got Korean Jesus in the audio booth, and we've got James in the TD booth. Korean Jesus, you got something you want to say to Lems 31M?
Yes, Lems. I said, if you were not listening, that Tenev is a crucial part to the Dallas Stars team. I did not say anything about Ottinger. Ottinger is arguably the best goalie in the league, behind Igor and maybe Bob. But he's a top 3 goalie in this league, and there is nothing that Tenev being out changes that, because you've seen throughout this entire series how he's really made amazing saves on McDavid, Draisaitl. It doesn't even matter. So take that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah,
Hey,
tell
you
him, Justin.
You know, speaking of NHL goaltenders, I want to pick your brain on this, Jesus. What would a Stanley Cup title mean for Bob's legacy? He's obviously already an all-time great Hall of Famer with what he did in Columbus, but now you add being with a great organization and potentially winning a cup, and they haven't given out the Vezina, right yet?
No, they have not.
He could. Do you think he's going to win it?
I don't know about the Vezina.
Okay, but he already has
Igor,
he already has 2, and he'd have a Stanley Cup if they win.
I think it's crucial for his legacy. I think in hockey, D-Mac says it all the time. Stanley Cups matter, and he will die on that hill, and I'm there with him. I think that if McDavid doesn't win a Stanley Cup, I think that stains his legacy. I think anyone who doesn't win a Stanley Cup, it stains your legacy. So I really think that Bob does need one. So does Igor, and so does Ottinger.
I'm glad that you brought that up about McDavid, because I love Connor McDavid. He's the best in the world. He has been for
Justin don't like it.
Hey, he has been for many years now. However, when you look through the annals of history, and I kind of brought this up before, all of the all-time greats that you consider the cream of the crop, which McDavid certainly could be in those waters one day. You've got Wayne Gretzky, multiple Conn Smythes. You got Mario Lemieux, multiple Conn Smythes. Steve Yzerman's a Conn Smythe winner. Nick Lidstrom. You could look at even a guy like Mike Bossy or Patrick Waugh. Or, I mean, Jaromir... Hey, he's won 3, though. You look at Jaromir Jagr, who won a couple kind of off of Mario Lemieux's coattails when he was young in Pittsburgh. We're talking about the best of the best. They all have Conn Smythes or titles. And that's why I think in order to reach his potential as an all-time great, he's got to win at least one.
I completely agree with that. And I have a couple more questions that I'd like to answer. Mike G asked me if I were to have I play center. If I were to have someone on my left wing and my right wing at WSN, who would it be? I think the easy answer is Darren McCarty.
Yeah.
We've already chatted about it. He's the scorer. I'm the playmaker. I give him the puck. He scores. But then the other one is interesting because I honestly don't know if anyone else plays hockey, but my guess would be Mr. Spenmo Rax over there, because I just feel like he would be an absolute menace. He'd be protecting me out there, being a goon.
I can skate.
Can you skate, Spenny?
I can skate.
All right, yeah. Perfect choice then. It's definitely Spenmo Racks. And then the away fan. Ask the higher-ups. I'd love to go to Red Wings training camp. If that's a possibility and they let me do it, I will be there. So try to keep putting in chat, and hopefully the higher-ups see it, and I'll get my opportunity.
Hey, we would love to have boots on the ground up
Yes,
there
sir.
in Traverse City. And Patrick O'Hara, flannel kind of looks like McDavid's cousin. Thank you. I wish I was.
Where's that?
I would be in Dallas right now. But you know what? Where would I rather be than right here with you guys at the Woodward Sports Studio in Metro Detroit with guys like KG, Korean Jesus, James, Spenny, for all of you guys in the chat, for all of the guys that I just mentioned. We will see you tomorrow. Be sure to tune into all of the other great programming that Woodward Sports has to provide. And by tomorrow, I mean Monday, because it's the weekend. Peace.